This is the final module, mindfulness, where we walk through a couple of exercises and talk about what it really means to be present and aware while you're experiencing pleasure. So now we know our relationship with sex and pleasure is intertwined with shame, body image, gender, society, rules, so many things. The question that really comes in is that how do I rewire my body and my brain to actually enjoy sex? I want to do it. I enjoy intimacy. I want to be pleasurable. I want my partner to have fun while we're having sex. I want to have fun while we're having sex. What do I do about it? The answer is, well, not simple, but singular in some ways. You ensure a lot of safety for your nervous system and your body. All of these feelings of guilt, shame, judgment, frustration, they really bring in a sense of unsafety or lack of safety with our nervous system. And when our nervous system is not feeling safe, it will go into a fight, flight, freeze, or fawn mode. When it goes into the survival mode, which is fight, flight, freeze, or fawn, it will not be able to stay present. And well, in sex, the biggest trick is to stay present. While pleasuring yourself, you have to stay present. If you're not present, your body is there, but your brain isn't. Remember the DJ analogy? The crowd is just dancing to vibes. The DJ is not having fun while playing music. It's not a good vibe. It's not a good space to hang out in. If there's a partner, they have to build safety for your body to mindfully experience pleasure and sex. As we come towards the end of the module, let's create a fun pleasure map, something that's a great resource for you and anyone you have sex with. Think of your pleasure as a race car. This race car has an engine, it has accelerators, there are brakes, there are pit stops, and there are bumps in the road that might be there. Now, the engine could be something that really kind of gets you started. It could be connection, privacy, humor, any sort of chemistry. Somebody cracks a great joke, your engine is on, it's ready to run. There are accelerators that speed up the process. The accelerators can be uninterrupted touch, nice smells and sounds, novelty, excitement, great mood, consent, having a partner who loves you, having a partner who you love. Any sort of thing that speeds up the process for you are your accelerators. Now, as you go ahead, there might be breaks in the process, breaks that we know of, breaks that are predictable. These breaks can be certain thoughts or ideas that bring up guilt, body image, any triggers that might be there, a sense of not feeling safe, not being in the mood, not having a great space to have sex, lack of privacy. All of these are breaks that interrupt your flow of pleasure. Now, as you're going and your race car is running, it's running, there might be bumps in the road. These are bumps that probably are something that you might not predict, but they still interrupt the process. They can be past flashbacks, sudden disturbances, unwarranted touch, not wanting to do it anymore. Anything that interrupts the process for you is a bump. But the good thing is that whenever there's a bump and the car slows down, you are allowed to go to the pit stop, refuel, reset, and decide how you want the car to run. Those pit stops can be conversations that help you get in the mood. Those pit stops can be people you go to for connection, things that you do together that are not necessarily sexual, anything that sort of makes you feel like you're refilled to kind of go back to the track again. And now that you're on the track running, realize what your finish line should look like. It doesn't mean that you're reaching an orgasm and you're finishing in the literal sense of the term. It can mean feeling more connected with your partner. It can mean having a fun night out. It can mean knowing better about your body or your partner's body. It can mean just cuddling at the end of everything. This pleasure track really helps you understand what your personal preferences are when it comes to your pleasure. Every person has their own pleasure track with their own pit stops, brakes, and accelerators. It's unique depending on the life experiences that we've had, the stories that we carry, and what feels good to us. So now that you understand how pleasure exists as this racetrack, make your own. Try to understand that pleasure exists in unique ways for everyone. Figure out what your engine is, what your bumps are, what your accelerators are. And once you have it figured out, understand what you would want to know more about. Your pleasure map belongs to you. You get to decide how it looks like. You get to decide who gets to access it. It is a common scenario, especially when our mind feels very attracted to the person and we're very excited to kind of have sex with them, or there's somebody else in the picture and we're really excited about the whole process. But maybe there are inconveniences that exist in the environment, in the way the person is treating our body, in the way our body is responding to touch. So while our brain and emotions might really want to sort of get down with it with the person, our body might not be ready because it's inconvenienced by certain factors. And in that moment, it can be very important to ask yourself, what is it that I can add to this whole scenario to feel more comfortable, to feel more settled in, to feel more relaxed? And that's when your body will also probably follow the same track. Dopamine plays a huge role when it comes to the excitement that exists in sexual arousal. Our brains are more excited about chasing something and being rewarded by it than just the idea of reward. So, for example, if I am excited to have sex, the process of being excited, looking forward to sex, getting dressed on the day, getting to meet the person, the entire step by step process of getting to the act of sex feels more exciting than sex itself. So, all of those reward pathways are lit up when we're preparing ourselves to have sex. And all of that results in the sexual arousal that finally leads to the act of sex. And if it's safe, if it's nice, if everything feels it's aligned, our reward pathways are lit up like Christmas market, because sex is that rewarding and it feels as pleasurable. And once the dopamine settles down and the safe chemicals come in, that is serotonin and oxytocin, the dopamine settles down, the excitement settles down, but the pleasure still stays, because it's like after being excited and having like a fun run, you're wrapped in a nice warm blanket. In sexual terms, the reward can really be anything. It can be reaching an orgasm, it can be feeling connected with your partner, it can be getting to have sex with somebody you've been really looking forward to have sex with, or it can just be a fun time having sex. So, reward is all of these things when it comes to sex. The pathway is the foreplay that goes into having sex, or the excitement, the curiosity, the wonderment of getting to know somebody else and yourself. The process is the pathway, the destination is the reward. So, mindful masturbation is something that carries the intersection of not being ashamed of engaging in pleasure and understanding why you're wanting to engage in pleasure. I think to be mindfully present with your body or to mindfully masturbate, you have to really ask yourself these two questions. One, how am I feeling right now? What do I want from this process of masturbation? You could want just pleasure, you could want to feel relieved, you might be stressed and this might be a way of relaxing yourself. You might want to experiment. So, know what your intention is when you're sitting with yourself and you're pleasuring yourself. Once you know what your intention is, you will be able to direct your body, direct your brain towards that goal. And well, that's mindful masturbation. So, mindfulness is also something that helps us be present not just with ourselves but also our partner. If we are mindful while having sex, we will be more attuned with each other. We'll be able to notice what's coming up for us, ask for that need, and then that need can be fulfilled by the other person. Vice versa, we can notice what's coming up for the other person, ask them what feels good, and be able to be present enough to give them that sensation, to give them that joy. So, mindfulness overall really allows us to feel attuned with each other, attuned with ourselves, listen to our needs, and then gather our resources to be able to fulfill those needs so that we're able to get to a place where joy and pleasure become second nature and it doesn't feel like a task that we're doing. So, anyone who's a couple, to be mindful with each other doesn't just require you to be mindful in the bedroom or while you're having sex. It largely exists outside of the sexual relationship or in the moment sex. Mindfulness is expanding awareness of your partner's likes, dislikes, certain warning signs, being aware of what actually makes them feel safe. As a couple, mindfulness doesn't just mean that we know what we like in bed, but also outside of it. And when we are aware of our lives that exist outside of the sexual relationship that we share, it does translate to great intimacy and great chemistry while you're having sex with each other.